So I've been talking about the podcast quite a bit in the last, few weeks or whatever, and so it should come as no surprise to me that you guys have been asking about the podcast and why haven't we put up video in quite a while. First up, we've been massively busy, Scout being hurt and all the things, and then the building of the house and the standing of the roof and it's wild. I'll put in a little video here somewhere and you can see my skills all up on a roof being scary, but we've been doing all of that. But to answer that question, there will be a new podcast episode very, very soon because 1989 TV is like upon us. And so that's totally happening. And yeah, that actually does have something to do with today's video because the thing that I'm talking about today is the tool that I use to create that epic intro to the podcast. But we're not going to talk about creating intros. We're going to talk about other fun ways that you can use it. And I'll tell you what it is in just a minute. But before I do, hello, I am Mrs. Soap and Clay. Let's make stuff. How's it going, Sudsers? Welcome back to the channel. You are at Soap and Clay, where we make all the soapy things. And you're here for a week of catch up and FAQs and just kind of general chaos, really, and info dumps and all the things. And I had mentioned last week during the Project Soapway Challenges, the Lotus, that I use Canva for doing design colors and whatnot now. And I'd also mentioned a couple other uses for it. And a Sudser had requested that I do a quick breakdown on a Canva tutorial. And then I also saw that on a number of older videos, just kind of searched Canva throughout my comments. And I think I promised to do this quite a while ago. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to do like a quick and dirty overview on Canva, the ways I use it, specifically for making soap scrapers, because we will be talking about that next week. And I will be using those next week, as well as for how I design my labels, and obviously with design seeds and color palettes. So let's get to the video where it's just going to be me literally walking you through Canva, which is not sponsored, by the way. It's just an amazing tool, and I won't be face thing. It's just going to be, me on the computer. So let's go there and do that. So I use Canva for a whole bunch of things. One of them is going to be finding my good color palettes. If I'm just really stuck and I need some ideas as to how to get, a good pleasing color in a mix, I'll just go in and I'll just, for this one, red color palette, and scroll through and see, which one I really like. And when I see one that I like, you can customize the template. You can also have the hex codes here, which is wildly important for a lot of reasons. But then there's also more like this. And then I just kind of am going to go off of the ones that really speak to me, and I decide, yeah, those colors totally work for my soap. So it helps out. But one of the reasons why it also is very helpful is because, again, within these palettes, there are hex codes. And so if I go to customize this particular one with this beautiful flower and everything here, all of these colors, when I go to customize it, has the hex code that I can then paste into all number of things. I can paste that into my label creation, which we'll get to in a second. And so if I wanted to really make one of these colors pop within my label design, I can paste this in my thumbnails. If I'm wanting the thumbnail to really, show off the, beauty of the soap and really complement the soap. All of the things are so easy to do within this Canva platform. And again, it's not at all sponsored, but I love this. And I also love this little feature here. Now this is going to be, it's for my YouTube thumbnail creation. I do all of my thumbnails through Canva. And really, usually I just do a quick search within Canva, like about what I'm doing, you know? So if I'm doing a YouTube thumbnail for a reaction, well, I get inspiration from them and then I, customize it for me. But with this, I love that. I love the background remover on everything. So you can remove the background easily from your soaps for not just your thumbnails, but obviously your product photography. You can replace the background with something else. You can put Cute Scout in because she's awesome and showing off her, you know, cast. That was the day she got her cast off. So yeah, you can do all kinds of fun things with this as well within your thumbnails and within your product photography, all of your web development. Also, obviously, as we discussed, color seeds. One of the biggest things I use Canva for is probably something that you guys are always stressing out about, and that's label design. Now, I did see somebody in the a Sudser in the Discord talk about how they don't use Canva for label design because they don't have the exact sizes. Their sizes aren't the right whatever. And I totally get that for sure, but you can create your own sizing. And so this is what I have done for this. And, well, these are all my soap bands, but this is an example. It's a Mary bar from, last year or whatever. But you can see there on the left, it will also give you a whole bunch of different banners and ideas of ways that you could customize whatever it is that you're going based on the size input that you put in. Now, I am going to go ahead and get to the bigger version of the labels. Now, again, this is my template. And so what I have done is I have sized out everything that I want within my label. I have measured the around my entire label or my entire soap. So I know how long the label should be. I've determined the height. I have nailed all of this down. And then I've designed the actual, label itself. And for the areas that I never want to change, like the soap and clay, where that is, the website, the handmade in Gig Harbor, that line between the name of the soap and the scent of the soap, I lock them so I can't move them around. These ones I don't lock so I can move them around and obviously change the fonts and whatnot. My soap and clay logo there, obviously I don't want that to change because that's giving me all of the spacing. Do you see the white space between the soap and clay logo and the main body of the where the peony blooms is there? That's that 1 inch mark that's going to be white on the sides of my bars. So when I wrap it cigar band style, everything's going to line up where it needs to. It's going to meet up on the other side, so I can then just tape that and I have a beautiful cigar band. But when you're done with that and you figured out everything that you like and all of the jazz, you can then go back to the design seeds if you're wanting to put things in and change the color. If you're wanting to really showcase one of the colors that you love very much about the particular soap that you just made using that color palette, you can do that. Conversely, you can completely change the background of it all if you want and have fun with that. I tend to not. I don't know that it's the best idea to really mess with the colors on your labels too terribly much, but that's just me. But you can do a whole lot with this, and then you just duplicate this. You just continue to duplicate this page within your soap labels file within Canva, and you always have all of your sizing and your spacing. And this is what I meant with the custom sizing. You just go to create a design and you put in your own sizing. Obviously, make sure to change it from pixels or whatever that is there to inches or centimeters or whatever you're working with. And I'm going to show you another example of just how cool the custom sizing is for all of this when we start talking about the scrapers and how I use Canva to design my scraping tools, which is also a ton of fun. But yeah, you just go ahead and you create it, and now you have your total sizing and positioning and everything there, so you know that you're working within that template. So wherever you go to, whatever you're doing, it's going to be appropriately sized. And so then once you have designed all of your labels using the elements tool and the text tool on the left hand side there, as well as uploads, or even within your brand, which we will get to, once you have that all figured out, again, lock the areas that you don't ever want changed, and you can mess with the areas that you do want changed. So you just continue to duplicate those, download the one that you want, that you're ready to do. I personally import it into a Word doc, which I then just duplicate, so I have a full page full of things, and then I send it to my printer so I can print 300-400 off without having to sit and babysit a printer or continue to change and make new documents. The sizing is always going to be the right size. It's going to work within my printer, and it's going to give me all the spacing that I need between my labels, so I can just slice them up and then band my soaps. Now, the elements tool here, again, you saw that I searched for rectangular frame. I'm just going to search them for all kinds of things while I'm trying to determine what style I want for my, my soaps. But with these elements, you have, obviously, you have shapes, you have graphics, you have pictures and videos that you can look through for all of these. Obviously, I'm staying away from pictures and videos. Really what I need are shapes so I can build, my frame around the cigar band. So I have the nice, pretty, everything is contained within the, whatever. I like the frame. And then you can just duplicate all the things that you like and then lock everything together so it's now grouped. I mean, it's very similar to messing with grouping in any other platform, really. And like I said, it's good to go and it's saved forever until you decide that you want to change your soap bands for any particular reason. Now, I do this and I keep files within Canva in my different folders for every single product that I have, right? So all of my soap bands are the exact same width and height. All of my bath bombs, they're different from my soap bands, but they're all the same width and height. And also, my lotion labels, so the things that I'm going to print on stickers to put onto lotions, or the things that I'm going to put on my gift sets, they all have different sizings that then get saved within one document. And again, once I figured out where I want all the spacing and the sizing and everything to be, and what size the font needs to be legally to be complying with, cosmetic labeling guidelines, I then just continue to duplicate that exact one that I'm happy with. And now I have labels for all of the things. And so it's really helpful too for, next year when I forget that I made the Mary bar for Halloween, right? And I want to go ahead and make more. And instead of having to find, oh, well, where'd that label go? Do I have to make a new one? No, Canva saves it all. It's right there. It's amazing. And also, this is cool too. The brand stuff, my logo is always in there. My official soap and clay colors with the hex codes are in there. The alternate color palette that I use, as well as Soapbox Society, you can create brand colorings as well as the actual fonts that you use for your brand, and save it all in the branding. It's amazing. I love everything about it. And then again, you just download it and it's saved and you can print it off, no problem. I also did touch on this earlier, but yeah, pay attention to the templates over here. Again, whatever size that you put into Canva, like this is the size that I want, it's auto-formatting a lot of ideas for you. And you can click through that Halloween, the fall, the Christmas, whatever you would like, to really give you inspiration or a jumping off point for a lot of your designs, which is very, very helpful for me because I really do need a visualization of most things before I decide, yes, this is going to work, or no, it's not. And this helps out. It has a template in there. Most of the time I change these like crazy, but for inspiration, totally works. And you can save all of your beautiful color palettes that you are working on, things that you want to play with later, all of the things. It's all saved right there in Canva. It's great. One of the most favorite things that I use Canva for these days, because I really actually am getting into building and creating scrapers and doing like scraped landscape soaps and whatnot, is the ability to do that. Now, this is an example of a hell challenge that is coming up for Project Soapway that I created in Canva to sort of visualize where I needed all of my lines to go. And therefore, because the sizing is exactly the size of my soap bar. So my soap mold, see, got 9 centimeters wide, 7 centimeters high. Yep. And so I know that what I'm creating in there is going to fit within the design. And so really all I have to do is print out that one piece and then cut it on my cardboard, or if I'm going to do a 3D or a laser cut or, something with a stiffer because I want to keep it, then you can do that as well. This is another example for a Christmas soap that I made to make a really easy Christmas tree. I was able to, again, visualize it there and just print this out and cut my cardboard so I had a perfect scraper to get that pattern in my soap, when I was making my Christmas tree soaps. Now, I'll give you, just other examples. You can look through all of this, just search up snowman, look at the graphics, and start playing with the graphics to size it out to see how big do you want your scraper to be? How much of the soap should be the snowman? Do you want it the entire, middle of the bar? Should that be the focus? Should it not? And again, all of the sizing is accurate to your bar of soap because you put in your mold measurements. And then you can print this out and know that you are going to have the appropriately sized scraper. And then it also helps you out with being able to determine how much how much soap is going to go into that particular cavity within your mold, because you can do your measurements and determine that. So I do love that. But let's give another example of how I really love using it lately for landscape soaps. Now, you remember like in year one, I did the Mount Rainier soap, right? And so I just totally built it from scratch and was just messing around with it in the mold or whatnot. I'm actually loving landscape soaps a whole lot more these days because I started using Canva to really plan out my design. I am not an artistic person. Like that's not something that just easily comes to my brain. And so really being able to see this and not only see it within, okay, so this is ultimately what I'm going for, but also changing all the different colors on it. It allows me to, when I print this out, see all of the different scrapers that I'm ultimately going to need. And this is me just playing around with it and deciding, well, do I want a different line here? Would that maybe be a mica line? I don't know. Let's see what else we've got. I'm choosing a different size, different shaped mountain and a different color. So I know that that would be a secondary scraper when I cut everything out or when I send it to the 3D printer. And it's, you know, it's kind of working. It's great. Oh, I kind of like that there. Maybe in between the mountains, that could work. And with all of these, you have the ability to obviously flip things, duplicate them, but also change the positioning of them. So if you're wanting the, you know, the whole look and the dark green mountain to be behind the light green within your vision here, you can do that. Again, if you're making it for a scraper, that doesn't really matter. What you're really looking for is the peaks and the things that you're going to be making to create your dead space. But you can also do this. Look, I put a little road here. I'm effectively recreating the Mount Rainier soap, you know, in Canva. And this is wildly easier because I did actually have to do a big custom batch for that recently. And so I created it and had the scrapers all done. So I knew that all of the soaps were going to be consistent from batch to batch. And so I cut a scraper for the path. I cut a scraper for the 2 mountain sets, and I cut a scraper for the clouds all the way around that I then just flip over to get the top part of it. And I also cut a scraper for the sun in the middle. This is such a cool way to really see your dreams, the things that you're wanting within your soap, realized before you start making soap. And for those of us that like to do the planning stuff, I think that works really well. You know, I think it's a very smart idea. Obviously, for something like this, I have no idea how to make all the little sunbeams around it with a scraper, but I can do a regular sun. You know, that's totally fine. And so I can do that. And then this would be where I'd want to put it behind because obviously I just want that one part scraped. And so we work from there. And yeah, it's a really amazing tool. I really do recommend checking out Canva, trying Canva. There's a lot of really, it's user friendly. There's a lot of ways that you can use it within your soap. These are just like 3 ways that I use it. But honestly, I use it all the time for everything. And again, this is not sponsored. People wanted me to talk about Canva and how to do it. And so this is how I do it. It might not be right, but it's easy peasy and it works for me. And also you can do weird things with the AI because they have that. I'm putting that on my HOA page. Yep. It's just kind of a basic walkthrough of Canva, how I use it. It's a very beautiful, big tool. There's so much that you can do with Canva. I just scratched the surface with this in talking with you guys for some very specific purposes. But for me, I really do love that it organizes all of my files so I have different templates for my soap band labels, my bath bomb labels, my, you know, bigger weirdly sized labels, my different thumbnails, all the things, and everything is saved into a file. And if I want to keep one version, i.e. a label that I've made for rosé, but duplicate it because the oils aren't changing, just the color and the scents, then I just hit the little duplicate button. Now I have a new one. It exports beautifully into the Word doc that I use in order to go ahead and print things out for my labels. It's delightful. It's a really cool tool. Let me know what you use Canva for. So like I said, I've used it for all kinds of things. I used it for the intro and outro to the Soapbox Society. And that intro may be the best thing that I've ever done in my life. I hope you guys had a good time today. I always have a good time with you. Thank you for being here and being sudsers. For those of you who are not sudsers, I am not thanking you. I don't understand why you exist here. You could click button. You don't. It's weird. But, you know, hi. But I'm out of here. I will see you guys all again tomorrow for another round of soapy fun. Bye.